Good morning, this is Ben, responding to a video posted by Neotropic9, and the video is entitled Atheist Michael Newdow Intellectually Demolishes Arrogant Moron on Fox News. It's about separation of church and state, and so my video is going to be about separation of church and state. If I can follow what I believe Michael Newdow was saying, he's saying, point 1, government may not endorse any religious view. Point 2, government may not therefore base its laws on religious beliefs, or else it would be, endorsing a religious view. Point 3, government must therefore base its laws on reason. Now, he didn't say that, but people say it all the time, that third point. And come on, with the third point, like, if you're going to define faith is unreasonable and everything else is reasonable, then of course we would need to be faithless. Now, that's just ridiculous. We just defined it as an alternative. Anyway, does basing laws on a religious belief mean that a government is to some degree endorsing that religion? Yes. Yes, it does. Does refusing to base laws on a religious belief mean that a government is to some degree endorsing atheism? Yes, just as much. Is that really true? You may be asking, is that really true? Yes, here's why. I'll tell you why. Two reasons. One, government cannot remain irrelevant to religion. If I go and get a machine gun and kill everyone in the post office, and they come to arrest me, and I say, y'all shouldn't arrest me, God told me to do this, so it was the right thing to do, and they still arrest me and still haul me off, they're in effect saying, God did not tell you to do that. If the 9/11 bombers, in the name of God, through the authority of their terrorist regime, destroy the World Trade Center because God told them to do that, and we bring down the full force and kill Osama bin Laden and all this, we're in effect saying God did not tell you to do that. The government is endorsing a disbelief, an attack on a religion. It's not remaining irrelevant to religion. You can't be irrelevant to religion. You have to enforce opposition to a particular religious beliefs. Furthermore, governments that make decisions based only on the government itself and no higher authority are endorsing themselves. That government is endorsing itself as the highest authority in your life. Saying we're the highest authority. It's endorsing itself as there's no higher authority. You follow our rules because we say so. Again, governments that make decisions based only on the government itself is endorsing itself as the highest authority in your life. And this idea that, well, no, they base it on reason, and reason is the authority that, everyone can agree on. If there's a God, all of a sudden what's reasonable changes. And that's not, oftentimes. So the point is, governments that make religions based only on government itself and no higher authority are endorsing themselves as the highest authority in your life. Okay, knowing this, how do we press on? I'm going to read this, I wrote it down. Separation of church and state in our day means that government cannot base its laws on religion. That's how it's understood. Separation of church and state originally meant that the government did not have to base its actions on religion. Okay? Did not have to, but the government did not have to base its actions on religion. The idea was that the religion should not have forceful authority to impose its views. In other words, the government was free to be religious or not to be religious. Today, the issue is that if government decides to base its actions on a religion, then said government is to some degree enforcing that religion. This is true. But it is also true, as we said before, that a government that bases its views on itself is establishing itself as your highest authority. The issue is this, and this is what it really comes down to. We have to have laws for the people in general. Government has to enforce something. Therefore, the government, and we as the government, have to endorse something as a government. You will never find the removal of government from the endorsement of some sort of religion or lack thereof. You will never find the removal of government from the endorsement of some sort of religion or lack thereof. What separation of church and state meant originally was that the church changed what the church believed. The church decided to believe that that the church did not have the right to enforce its laws and views on the government. Okay? The church, who had massive political and financial power, decided that the government was free to enforce the government's views on the populace. The point is, government can be free in this sense. The people at large cannot. Religion, especially when they had all that power, could step back and say, we're not enforcing our views, but government cannot. Let's see. Governments have to make laws, or there are no laws. The government has to endorse or deny a particular view, but religions do not have to enforce their views. And then finally, in the stream of laws and politics, our American government has simply taken the road of general agreement. Most religious and irreligious worldviews generally agree on what is right and what is wrong. Okay, you hear that? Most religious and irreligious worldviews generally agree on what is right and what is wrong. Generally speaking, the laws mostly fall in this area of huge agreement, but it is impossible to make laws that everyone agrees with. Some people will always have to suck it up and argue for a change, while living with laws they don't agree with. Atheists want the pledge out of public schools, or as it is. They want to change it at least. Christians, and they also want the Ten Commandments out of courthouses. But Christians want abortion banned. Muslims want to impose severe punishments for crimes as commanded by Muhammad. This is America, and we have to deal with it. Thank you.